Hello, and thank you for visiting Graphene Business Law. If you're currently in law school or deciding whether to go to law school and you're having questions about the rest of that journey, primarily the question of, is law school really this hard? Or the other variant, is law school hard? Well, then this video is for you. As a lawyer of many years of practice, of course I can answer that video, and fortunately for me, I attended not one, but two law schools here in Canada. I did my undergraduate studies in the States in Boston. However, I did return back to Canada for law school, and I certainly have a lot of experience with rigorous law schools and whether law school is hard. That being said, thanks again for visiting Graphene Business Law. We are proud to provide business law services virtually across Ontario. My name is Pam Matani. I'm the principal lawyer and founder here at Graphene. And I do like putting these student videos out from time to time. We have a series of them on our YouTube channel because I know what it's like. I remember those days. And some memories are a lot more vivid than others, but I certainly remember what it's like to be in law school or to think about going to law school, that whole picture. So, is law school hard? My very first words out of my mouth, if you've spent any amount of time in law school, are going to be what? It depends. What does it depend on? Well, if you're asking me if law school is hard to fail, if you're asking me is law school hard to pass, are you asking me is law school hard to do well, and what variation of those questions is really at the crux of it all for you. Assuming we're asking here if it's hard to do well in law school, that's the conversation I'm going to continue with, and I'll even further narrow that down to highlight that I'm not talking here about the social scene and extracurriculars and all of those aspects of law school. I'm talking here, excuse me, I'm talking here strictly about whether law school is hard academically speaking, okay? To that, I would say that law school, and advance apologies if any other sneezes, now I'm thinking about the sneeze, but I would say law school is not necessarily hard, it's just different. There's a formula to law school. So something to qualify as truly difficult, in my opinion, it would be this unpredictable, untamable beast. Law school is not that. It's highly predictable. There's a formula. Many professors try to give you that formula and talk to you and have you practice that formula. But it takes time for that formula to truly sink in and for you to go, that's the formula, on your own. That difference of bringing a horse to water, but the horse doesn't drink, right? You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink the water. I came to law school from a very, very enlightened and sterling background, speaking educationally, okay? I went to Wellesley College in the US, the world's best institution, the world's best women's only undergraduate institution. You can fact check that, that's not an opinion. And at Wellesley, I dabbled in a lot of things. I initially went there for economics, so I did, undertake rigorous studies in economics. But ultimately, I also went the direction of philosophy and French for my majors as well. And philosophy in particular was this beautiful, beautiful exercise in the expansion of the mind and in opening doors in one's brain that, had I not taken those courses, I wouldn't know they were there. And much of the exercise of philosophy, at the end of the day, a degree in thinking about thinking, was, this fluid, always moving, always stretching, growth and expansion oriented exercise. How much can I learn? How many angles are there for something? How much, creativity can I inject? How, hypotheses, what's going on? What life theories, how can I translate them? And just fluid. There's fluidity in philosophy, at least in my experience. And when you try to apply that fluid journey to law school, it doesn't work, okay? There might be people coming to law school from the whole other opposite end of the spectrum that might have a degree in data science, okay? And they are on the other end of the spectrum insofar as they need to become more fluid. But I almost entered law school a little too fluid in my thoughts. It was very difficult for me to conceptualize of wrong thought, of bad thought, because in philosophy, I simply don't accept that there are, incorrect thoughts that can never be. It's not that setup. But in law school, there are so many ways to be incorrect on those exams, at least for the purpose of the exam itself, and therein lies the trick. An exam taken in law school or written in law school is not an exercise in loopholes and creativity and this and that. There are levels to the game, and the first level you have to cross is plugging in the right formula. And that formula for us lawyers is called what? Ratio. So insofar as that's concerned, doing well in law school, you remember I said it's not hard because it's not unpredictable. Doing well in law school is mathematical. It relies on finding an appropriate formula to plug in at a somewhat appropriate time. Time, of course, what? In that fact pattern, right? Once you do that, you're a lot of the way there, okay? I entered those exams, especially in my first semester, looking for where can I inject flair and where can I flash knowledge and where can I demonstrate that there truly are other and better ways to do this. I graduated law school doing very well at the end with some, and overall, I shouldn't just say the end, in some courses, professors wrote to me personally. I'd attained the highest grade in the course for the semester that I was in that course. However, first semester exams were a learning curve. And it's for the reasons I've already outlined. So if you want to do well in law school, you're going to need to find that balance in the formula. What does each case you have studied prior to the exam stand for in one or two sentences? And where on the exam you are now taking, can you plug in that knowledge in a way that will keep, like this safe math going on, right? Not necessarily looking for the spiciest place to plug in a ratio. Start by looking for a safe place, and that'll take you further than most of your classmates. And then I know we've all seen the, salt sprinklings. At a few places here and there on the exam, try to sprinkle your own salt crystals, your own injections of creativity, just to show a little bit of original thought where you can. Because then that puts you, that really thins out the air and puts you into that next level of thought. I'm reluctant to say, puts you at that 90%, at that A level of thought, because, well, if everybody that watches this video now starts acting this way on an exam, we all know the beloved, curve is going to knock everybody right back down. So if everybody's getting, 95 because they plugged in the right formula ratio at the right time and then sprinkled original thought, well, then nobody got 95. At least in most law schools, and certainly both law schools I encountered, there were grading curves which would knock all the bads up and all the goods down, okay? So, but, assuming we're not there yet, that this video is being watched by, every law student yet, then my suggestions still stand. Is law school hard? It's not hard. It's mathematical. And that's a trick. At least it was tricky for me. Again, coming from a background in philosophy, I looked to law school going into it as a continuation of that exercise in words and in thoughts, but really open thoughts. And then law school became really mathematical for me very early in the game. And once I started to treat it like math, every time it was plug in the formula in the right spot, make a balance, move on. And before you've moved on to sealing the exam, sprinkle something original somewhere, okay? And that formula then all of a sudden put me at the top of the class almost every time across both law schools. So that's my suggestion. That's my takeaway for this video. Perhaps the title was generic insofar as, is law school hard? But the tip I've given here, I think, is highly specific and highly relevant. And I wish you good luck in applying it for yourself. Here at Graphene Business Law, we do keep an open door for our students. I do get emails, and I'm always happy to answer those emails. Once in a while, there's other methods I'm contacted in as well, but feel free, info@graphenebusinesslaw.ca. You can always comment on this video. You're right here on YouTube anyways, and we can get in touch that way. We, like I said, always have an open door policy for our law students and incoming law students, those looking to go to law school. So I'll end the video there. If you've already started your semester, your first semester of 2023, I hope you're doing well. If you haven't, good luck. And for me, it's thank you for watching.